So now we're going to clean the brushes that we used earlier, the oil brushes. As you can see, they've still got paint on them, and we'll just go step by step and we'll clean them out. The first thing that you need to do, and also to remember, is that when you're cleaning brushes, you don't want any solvent running back in the ferrule, in here, because there's a setting compound which is like a resin inside this ferrule that holds the bristles inside the metal bit here, the ferrule. So what we need to do is to keep the brushes pointing down when we're cleaning them. So the first thing that we do is we'll just wipe that paint off the bristle just with a rag or a piece of paper, it doesn't matter, and always go with the bristles, never across the bristles, because then you'll damage them. So good pinch, and off we go onto the next brush, and we'll do the same. Bang. This brush, same thing, that's a filbert brush. And finally, the little detailing brush. There's a paint in there. Okay, so now just put this aside. So now we've got the 4 brushes with a lot of the paint taken off. Not all of it, but a lot. What I've prepared here is I've put a little bit of solvent in there. In this case, it's a little bit of odorless terps. And I will just clean the rest of the material off those brushes just by dabbing the brush into that solvent, pointing it down, and again going with the bristles. And you can just see where it's wet there that it's removed more of the paint, more of the pigment. Dabbing in, and you can see the material coming off the brush, the pigment I should say. This is the filbert. As you can see, I'm just pressing down just to pick it up, point down, go with the bristles, and finally the little detail brush. The same process. And here are the 4 brushes that we've cleaned, and you can see most, if not all, of the pigment has been removed. And you can tell by this thing here that solvent is now quite heavily pigmented and coloured. The next step now is to take these brushes to a sink and wash them out with soap and water until they run clear. So now we're going to clean the brushes by using, today I'm just going to use some household detergent. Normally I might use a sort of commercial product, but just to show you how easy it is. So there's a household detergent in my hand, and I'm just going to use the brush, keeping it down again, and I'm just going to go figure 8 roughly, and you can see the muck that's still coming off it. You can see it on my fingers and in the palm of my hand. Giving that a good work over. And then we'll just run the water on. And let's see how that looks. As you can see, it's totally clear. There's no pigment left. The only shading you can see on the bristles here is where it's been actually stained through use, because these are quite old brushes. So the next brush, same process, a little bit of detergent, palm of your hand. You can see the detergent releasing the remnants of the pigment. I'll squeeze it out here so you can see it running through. And that's quite enough now. A bit of water. Rinse it out. Paper. Keeping it down. So now don't go and put that brush standing up. What you need to do is to try and hang it, or maybe lying flat on a table, so that all the material drains out of it. What we don't want, and I can't stress that enough, is to let the material run back down into the ferrule, where there's a setting compound that's holding those brushes, because in time that'll crack and you'll lose bristles. And we'll finish it off with the big filbert. That one had quite a bit of stuff left in it, but you can see it's just coming out quite easily. There we are, perfectly clean brushes. There's no residue on that paper there whatsoever. It's all done. Now that we've finished with all of that, what we need is to get a little bit of a product similar to Vaseline. That'll help us to reshape that brush, and it'll keep its shape like this beautiful filbert here. And basically, that is the easiest way and the quickest way to clean your brushes.